this can keep. And welcome to our super popular channel, to the machine learning barbecue or brown bag lunch that we hold here every week. And today we have a special guest who has his own channel, and we're collaborating and we will connect all of that together if we learn how to do it or if I learn how to do it. But the topic is the usual impenetrable as always, and no rehearsal, no preparation. Don't expect polished advertisement crap that usually YouTube try to feed you. We will be very slow and at our pace, right?
Yes, exactly.
Let's go.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Today's topic is on the paper titled Causal Inference in Audiovisual Perception by the two authors who are like my angels in the cover here on my two
You know
shoulders. No.
Where are they?
I know this seemed like
Oh,
they were
my
in
God.
my shoulders.
Oh, one is evil, another one is good.
I don't know which one is evil. Okay, so they are trying to answer this question. How does the brain decide whether audiovisual signals come from the same source? Same source in terms of their spatial physical location. So they are gonna say, can the brain integrate signals from a common cause? Can it segregate signals from separate causes? And if it does that, which regions of brain are responsible for these and for, causal inference? So to determine which brain regions are responsible for these tasks, they ran an experiment in the following manner. They took 4 days, and maybe 4.5, we can call it, to prepare all the tests. They, they did all the sound recording or the retinotopic localizer scans, all those adjustments to make sure that their tests would be reliable. Here, one thing to point out is this 70% accuracy when it comes to the judgment of the participants. And in the next slide, I'm going to show you like what we mean by those accuracies. And in the last 1.5, 2 days, they ran the main experiment. The experiment had 10 participants. Each participant had 10 to 12 runs, and each run consisted of 240 trials plus 20 null trials, so 260 trials. And each trial consists of an audio signal and a voice that the participant hears in the right earbud or the left, and simultaneously a visual that they see on a plexiglass screen in front of them for 50 milliseconds. And after seeing the visual and hearing the audio, they press a button on their left or their right, which will be their response about congruency of the audio and visual stimuli.
Is it a binary decision, or they also measure the distance of how far they move the sound?
No, binary. Yeah, you just say they come from the same source or separate. And here in each run, they change what left means and what right means. So in one run, left can mean they come from the same source. In the other run, left may mean it comes from separate sources. Why do they do this? Because if they didn't do this, then every time, let's say left meant, if left meant that audio and visual signals came from the same source, that would not allow them to separate the brain regions that activate when left hand responds from when left hand does something from the causal decision related activations. So they had to randomize it to separate it from motor regions. And this little 2x2 matrix explains that if both come from the left, they are physically congruent, or if both come from the right, they are physically congruent. And yeah, sure.
So they're showing pictures and audio of the source.
The pictures are just white dots, like we see here on a screen, white dots, that's it. And you are going to say, okay, the pictures, the white dots are on the left. Did the audio that I hear also come from the left or right? Yeah. If they come from the same, before the run, you are told, okay, if they come from the same, press right or press left. Whichever one you press that one.
side.
Press that side. And each run, this can be different, as I explained.
So,
What?
I have a question too. Why did they choose to use like this dot cloud rather than just like one dot?
Or a human face.
I think it might be because they don't talk about an answer to your question, but I would assume it's because if there is only one dot, the subject may miss it.
To precision. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I think the sound comes from 1 millimeter away.
Mhm.
But when it's a cloud, it's sort of in that general direction. I guess.
Yeah, maybe they could have made just one big circle.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, they picked this. Yeah, so simultaneous audio and visual. And the participant decides common cause or separate cause. And based on this result, they first ran a sanity check to see if what they know from literature about which region activates, for example, for the motor responses. If that doesn't match with their results, then they would say, okay, we are making a mistake. But they saw that all of these results that they display in the table actually match what comes from the literature. So they are claiming, okay, there is nothing wrong in this sense with what we are doing. Even though it's a big table, I think that they could have just maybe, but they wanted to be, explicit about what they actually tested. And this is, visual, audio, and motor responses. And here, at the first and second result, we see two regions in the like on the left and right, where it says Z equals 26 and Z equals 50. Those both come from.
I think you can use your mouse and form.
Okay.
That will help us.
Let's see. Okay. So these red ones are about when the responses were incorrect. So the participant said that audio and visual came from the same source, but they were not coming from the same source, or the participant said they were different sources, but they were the same. So interestingly, these two regions, I'm moving the mouse.
It's a different mouse.
It's your mouse. Okay.
No, you don't need to use your mouse.
What's happening here then? It's here. Okay. So two regions, this and this. Both of them are activated more when the decision is wrong, and they later explain this is because wrong decisions usually took more time. When the participant took more time, the decisions were usually more likely to be wrong. And these decisions that take a long time require more effort from the brain. And they say these two regions activate when you make a decision that requires more effort.
Is that what that bottom one is? The more effort one?
The top two, the red regions. Yeah, greens are a different thing. So the bottom two, this one and this. These are when the causal decision was separate more often than it was common. So we are not talking about the correctness anymore. We are talking about whether the participant decided the sources were coming from separate spatial locations more than common. So they say two regions activate when a human makes the decision that the audio and visual come from separate sources. These regions are right posterior intraparietal sulcus and right anterior intraparietal sulcus. And the corresponding parameter estimates with arbitrary units are on the right-hand side of each region's image. Is everything clear about this one?
Mhm.
Okay. And here, again, more results. This time we are beyond the sanity check. We are looking at three things. The first one is, this is more or less to support the images from the previous slide. The first part is about when the decision was separate more than common cause. So the green regions in this one. So they say, again, intraparietal sulcus activates the frontal sulcus, anterior insula, and precuneus. These regions are responsible for deciding two things come from separate sources. And when the participants were correct about their decision, the putamen, both sides of the putamen were more active. When the participants were incorrect, the bottom 6, 7 regions were more active. So,
Just a little observation. Temporally, it goes the other way. If bottom 6 regions are more active, the participant made incorrect decision.
yes.
If top regions were active, the participant made. It's not that, but because fMRI is so slow, it could be circular. It could be, oh, they were incorrect and they were like, oh, darn, I missed it. And they were correct, and that is that may not have anything to do with the action system. It's more of a reward system. They're like, oh, I'm happy, I got it right.
The participants don't know during the trial if they were correct.
Well, they sort of don't, but they have a feeling. It looks like they do too.
Yeah.
Looks like they do.
That they take a long time for wrong decisions. That's
exactly.
That's right, but they don't know for sure. Right.
Yeah.
They are hesitant. Yes.
So the wrong decisions, are they more difficult or are they less difficult? Are they the same? Maybe the wrong decisions are when those things are nearby together but different. So it's you take a long time because it's like, they're sort of the same but not the same. Or the wrong decisions are like, it's an easy case, but they got it wrong.
I don't think they explained in the paper if some audiovisuals were closer than the others, but I would think so, because otherwise everything is the same. Then, why would some of them take longer if that wasn't the case? Yeah, but it's interesting. When you can make a fast decision, you are more correct, or the other way. When the decision that you make is correct, you are having an easier time. You are
exactly. Isn't the difficulty of the problem that people are like thinking more? Because say we need to make recommendation. When you're on a very important test, don't think, just do it. Like you'll be correct.
Yeah,
that's one conclusion, right? But maybe that's a wrong conclusion. Maybe if it's just like, oh, when the problem was more difficult, they spent more time
Mhm.
and made more mistakes.
Like,
How can they
I know
control that?
from experience in chess that when you give someone an intermediate difficulty problem, if they make a fast decision, they are more likely to be correct. Because we have this saying, long line, wrong line. So if you think about it long, you are more likely to make a mistake. Usually, you should first, trust your principles. Look, if you can, visualize a few moves instead of 10 moves, those few moves are usually going to be correct. If you are beyond a certain level, you should trust your instinct most of the time. And so these results match that
No, but
experience that I have too.
much difficulty.
Now, yeah, but why would we expect it to be the other way? I think
No, I told you,
Mhm.
if the harder problems, you think
Mhm.
more, you try harder,
Mhm.
and you
Mhm.
get it wrong more often because they're harder problems.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see.
I also
That's
have
true
two
too.
comments, but so if you go back to the previous slide, they have right before the pretty simple drivers and the ones that you said right or wrong. It's like they have negative. You said that whether they're correct or not correct.
So,
It's the top.
if you look at the legend, the red ones, so the top two, are when those are the regions that become active when the decisions are incorrect.
The top two. You said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes me wonder if there's like an inhibition thing that people are second guessing themselves, and that's what's.
Yeah, when you second guess yourself, apparently these regions are more active. Yeah. And when you second guess yourself, you are more likely to be incorrect. Okay. I think that's all I had to say about this table. And another image. Now this time, they plotted the accuracies about 5 different measures. These are the visual location, auditory location, physical spatial congruency, causal decision, and motor response.
You can go here. There's like here.
And from this, we can make 3 major inferences. The first one is that lower level regions, which are, I think they mean just these ones in the back. These are more, these and the Heschel's gyrus, and this one was planum temporal, right? These are responsible for, so these two are responsible for audio, and the visuals are, as the name suggests, responsible for the visual activations. And if you look at intraparietal and front eye field on the top right, by the way, the triangle suggests, just like in the tables, significance after Bonferroni correction for all the regions. So, for example, the front eye field activates for all of them, and so does IPS. But the authors of this paper wanted to see if there was one region that was active only for causal decisions. And they found that on the top left, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex was more active for causal decisions compared to other tasks. So they keep maybe like 4 or 5 times repeating this in the paper. They're like, okay, this is the main takeaway, don't forget.
Well, probably they were bitten by the ears before.
Maybe, I guess, yeah. And here more results regarding what we saw in the previous one. The previous one was, let's not forget, this was about accuracy. and these are about the parameter estimates. So
But can you be like those authors because I got distracted? What was the main result again?
the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex
The
is
DSP.
responsible for causal decisions.
How do they know that? Why is it causal? Why is it not? Yeah.
Why is it causal?
It correlates with what? With the error? The activity in DLPFC?
It correlates with whether or not they are picking so we are measuring the accuracy in terms of their decision of physical congruency of the audio and visual.
Whether they were correct or not?
Yeah.
So what is causal about that?
What is causal about that?
Accuracy. Yeah. What is causal and how they connected the LPFC there?
I don't know.
Also, do they speak on like the sequence in which these different regions are doing things and like affecting each other, or?
No, they didn't say anything about which, like this one activates first, this one second. There was nothing like that. No.
You can sort of drop the time that and just say, okay, this is like a static tag, but I don't see that either.
Okay, the previous one was accuracies. This is about the parameter estimates. By that they mean, for example, for the visual location can be on the left or on the right. So that's why, like for each V in the coordinate systems, there are two box plots. One is for left, one is for right. Same for auditory and for physical spatial congruency. This is about spatially congruent or spatially incongruent. The D is the participant's decision. So that they say they come from the common cause or separate causes. And M is the motor response, left or right. So if they didn't randomize which motor response corresponded to common and separate, then we would see D and M as the same box plots exactly. Wouldn't be useful. And what else? So if we look at, again, their main takeaway, on the top right, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, there is a big separation when it comes to the causal decision. I think we can say this kind of, this supports their claim from the previous slide, that this region was responsible for those decisions.
Wait, how?
Because if this region is responsible, you would see the disparity between the common causes and, I mean, a difference. Maybe disparity is wrong. A big difference between the common cause responses and separate cause responses.
What is that? What is a common cause and separate cause in this context?
If the participant says the audio and visual came from the same direction, that's a common cause response. If they say different.
So the white, like I don't see a color map anywhere. Like I don't see a legend. So the darker box plots are what, and whiter box plots are what? I assume those are the
Darker is common, lighter is separate. They had it in the plot caption, but I didn't want to put it here because it was small.
Yeah. No, but thanks for explaining. Of course, we're all discussing the slides and not the paper.
But I know, so
Yeah.
like, I can explain if necessary. And what is the B part here? This is the regions that showed a big difference between common and separate from the A plots. So we kind of zoomed in on those regions. For example, in the bottom right for dorsolateral, what is the first one? When the spatially congruent input was shown, what was the decision of the participant. On the left we see common, on the right we see separate. And again then for spatially incongruent, like I'm talking about those four. And compared to the other three in part B, again, dorsolateral shows a bigger difference when it comes to these decisions. So they are building everything to, again, converge to that main claim. But one thing to be careful about is the main claim doesn't say dorsolateral is the only region responsible. It is the major one. So the front eye field and the intraparietal sulcus also help with the decisions. And they talk about what is fast, what is slow a lot. I would have liked to see a plot about this in the paper, but they just mention it in the body text. So I thought it would be good to just make a slide for it. So spatially congruent, spatially incongruent, decision common, decision separate. In the top two, we see the reaction times for the correct decisions. For example, spatially congruent, decision common. And when we look at the bottom two, we see that those two are slower. So all their claims about slowness of the incorrect decisions, this is the numerical
But they're
measure
probably
supporting
not
that.
statistically significantly different, are they?
They say they are significantly significant. Statistically significant. Statistically significant. Yes.
Are these
They're too close, that's right.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. So are these the subjects? Is there only 10, or is this like averaged out between each trial that they did?
This is the mean and standard deviation of the 10 subjects.
All together? Okay,
Mhm.
because they had multiple trials, though, right? So
Yes.
okay.
So if I got it correctly, they got the average for each participant and then the average for all of the participants.
Got it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're so.
When you're correct, you are statistically significantly faster. And here they show in table form what each region is doing when faced with a different kind of signal coming to the brain, or like making the decisions about separate and common. So if we see that something is significant for all the subjects, then that is more trustworthy. So for example, V1, V2, V3, we see that the visual location activation happened in all the subjects for those. And the numbers in parentheses show the Bonferroni corrected significance. For how many subjects it was significant even after the Bonferroni correction. So if you see 10 in parentheses, that's like, okay, this is definitely true. But for the paper, we should focus on the decision separate versus common. And if we look at the third one and the first one and the third one from the bottom, we see that for 8 subjects, these activations were significant in the dorsolateral and in frontal eye field. It was significant even after Bonferroni correction for 7 of them. Yeah, we talked about this paper, this table, basically. And when they are fast, the results like shown on those figures, the regions, both of the Puteman regions were active when you make fast decisions. And when you were slow, parts of the prefrontal cortex were active. And they interpreted this as these decisions require more demand. Yeah, again, as I said, the causal decision isn't made by just one region, but they say dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is the most active one when we are making these decisions. Yeah, they should have maybe talked about why they called it causal. Maybe I fell for the title a little. That's maybe one weakness of both the authors and me.
Should use some planning maybe. Like
Uh,
planning maybe would have been a bit stronger.
Maybe.
Yeah. Sequential. No, it's sequential. I think it's the pages, but better.
Yeah. And I think that's the end. Yes. Thank you for listening. Yeah. We can go through the paper, or if you have questions, I can try to answer.
Yes, let's ask questions.
I
Why
didn't
would
prepare
the region that's associated with the correct, that was, which one was it again?
with the correct
The only region that was for the correct. The
putamen.
The putamen, why would that be true?
It's
What does the putamen do?
it's involved in the basal ganglia, so it's like one part of the ganglia that helps with movement, but it's like executed movement, if that makes sense. So it's like swollen in Huntington's disease. So it's like so it would be the involuntary movement as well. So it's like main pathway for movement between prefrontal cortex and the.
Well, like in this task, these people are just sitting and they're saying,
No, they are.
right?
pressing.
They're pressing. Oh,
And
okay.
they're like
Okay.
looking at it, and then they're
Regardless, yeah.
Like the decision to press was already made, and so it goes. It's
Okay, looks like that person's
That's
ready
the-
to enter. Yeah,
So that's the region that presses the button.
the actual action. Yeah.
I
Okay.
looked at this arm. Got a signal. Okay, go do it. And that's
doesn't have to tell it, just does its own thing. Was there motion? Did they discuss at all for future studies, or was there motion at all involved in the dots? Because it was just stationary dots, right?
Stationary, yeah.
Yeah.
They are showing it just for 50 milliseconds, so I don't know how much of the motion they could have judged anyway. It just appears for 50 milliseconds along with a, I guess, beep or something, some audio.
Did they talk at all about? Sorry, this is my last question. Did they talk at all about the? So we just were thrilled about this all year in class. Did they talk at all about the study with the cats in the 1980s at all that they used to track the pathway for
No.
ocular domains? Okay, I was just curious if they discussed that.
Can you tell us about.
There was like this famous one that taught us in the systems class that we had to take. I think Lee's not here. She really won that exam. But it was like they had the cats. What did he say?
There is online.
She did.
Yeah.
You should talk about this. You did better than I did on the exam. But they like sutured one of the cat's eyes shut during a critical period, and then they showed them the what was it? The object. What was it? Just basically development, and then they did a lot of blocking where they had older cats that did not have their eyes shut, and then they track whether the cat's eyes actually developed according to those regions that you talked about, like the paper, the ocular domains. And I think it was the fourth ocular domain, and it was probably because of motion, because there's movement, developed normally if the eye was sutured when they're adults, but not normally if they were kittens, if that makes sense. Suggesting that there's like a critical period, a window when there's more activation, there's more malleability in the brain due to sense, if that makes sense. So I was just curious, and then they did actually track the rhodopsin in the eyes and see the pathway to the exact part that they found here. So I was kind of curious if they talked all about this, because like that would be really strong too. Just be like, hey, it's validated, but sorry.
Like they had
Maybe
many
that's wrong.
sources, but
Yeah, they should have cited it. I don't know what's wrong.
well, I didn't check every citation.
Oh,
But-
that's
but maybe they did cite the paper, but I don't remember them specifically talking about it in length. Any other questions?
So I assume you chose this because it had
Yeah, I chose it because
Audio and Causal.
yeah, 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 yeah. Then it was too late to change when I
What was it published by? Just curious.
what is published by.
Yeah,
Let me check.
because yeah, they did use casual. I was if they used the word they should use for the planning maybe instead. It's like,
The Journal of Neuroscience.
oh,
Hmm. Yes.
like I said then. Okay.
We can wrap up if there's no more questions.
Okay, thanks everyone for listening online as well. We will go to the private part of this conversation where we talk truth about what we think about that with the video.